What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 2 of the Chronically Right podcast. I am your host, Womp Tomp. Welcome back for the second installment here. We've got a good show lined up for you guys today. We're talking some good Trump, some bad Trump, some really bad Trump, unfortunately, quite a bit of bad Trump. We're talking about gender dynamics and kind of societal relationship dynamics to a degree. And we are also talking about majority minority dynamics as well. And back with us again is our beloved guest, the mechanical player. Please say hello to the people.
How we doing, everyone?
What's going on? Dude, I feel like I slept on my face last night. I feel puffy. You ever feel like you just can't get the puff out of your face?
I'm puffy every day,
Yeah,
no
but I
matter
mean,
how I sleep.
no, but not mine's unusual. It's an unusual puffiness.
Yeah,
I don't know what to do. I need to dunk my face in some cold water and wake up. But yeah, I had a good conversation with a priest friend of mine today, and he was talking about my TikTok, and he goes, "Do you know, does anybody ever threaten you on TikTok?" And I'm like, every once in a while I do get a little bit of a message where they're like, I'm gonna come find you. I'm like,
Well, I've gotten plenty. Not way
yeah, I've
smaller
gotten
than
quite a few, and I
me.
find it funny because it's like, I'm not gonna hold your cows sacred, and if it comes down to it, the only point I'll make is hollow. If we
Oh
need
yeah.
to,
You've
you know what
got
I
your
mean? It's
school
like
supplies. You've got your
I
school
got my,
supplies
I
ready.
got my. That's so funny. I think that's a bar none joke.
Yeah, that's completely. Yeah. Oh,
Welcome on the show.
shamelessly,
Bar
shamelessly
none, you are
ripped off.
welcome. You're welcome on the show at any point. Okay, he's a funny guy.
Oh,
Um,
of course.
Starting us out here, we have a tweet from Syra Rayo,
Yeah.
something like that, and she says, "White people have done everything to make my life miserable. Yet I'm supposed to not hate white people." John Hawkins replies, "Oh my gosh, I was at the white people's meeting last week when we were discussing when your name came up and they were discussing our plans to make your life miserable. We were so afraid that you'd blame yourself for your own feelings instead of us. It's so great to see that we're making a difference." It's so weird, dude. It's so weird. Like,
He could have
do you think
escalated that joke.
what I could have?
No, he could
Or
have.
he could have.
He
Yeah, he
could
could have said, yeah,
have.
yeah, yeah. Me and all my
Every kiss
Klansmen got
begins
together.
with K.
Yeah, dude, it's so weird. I think it's so bizarre because now this is not all, obviously, this is not all, but it seems like a large contingency of minority interest groups like secretly think that white people are so superior that we actually can control their lives.
Dude, what I think is wild is this. Think of it like this. She legitimately, if someone told her, yeah, there was a KK meeting down the street about you last week, she would take that as literal. She'd be like,
Yeah,
there it
yeah,
is. I
yeah.
fucking told you. I
Yeah,
fucking
you
told
hate me.
you.
You hate me. Well, it's so funny because a lot of those people were talking about how, white people are hateful and they're evil and their culture is evil and they hate minority. And some white people have recently just went, yeah, yeah, we do.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, we hate
you
you.
know what? If you're going to assume it anyway, I'm in. Even
I know. It's
though,
like, why? If I'm gonna get blamed and not be guilty, I might as well be guilty when I get blamed.
yeah, and
It's like
obviously, that's not our position as Catholics. Just gonna.
no, no, it's not. It's not. You shouldn't hate anybody, but it's just so weird to see. Like, bro, like I don't think about people like that. Like, I'll make fun of groups and I'll notice patterns and I'll point shit out and I'll talk about it in a political way. But like the idea that like I'm sitting there being like, I hope minorities have a bad day today. Like
I
the idea
hope
that
you have
white
a
people are that
terrible day. A
the
terrible
idea that
day. Like,
the idea that
that's very
the idea that white
feminine.
people are that interested, it's like the majority of white people in this country literally do not care about you at all. Like they're not coming to hurt you. They're also not coming to save you. And that's the
Mhm.
big lie. And it seems like a lot of people in the black community are like sitting there waiting for like their reparations. And it's like, you're asking like Craig, who works in marketing, who makes like $65,000 a year, whose wife is fat, to like help you. Like, it's like, no, like that's where the money's coming from. Like the US government
So
is
funny.
just the money from the regular people today. That's your supremacist organization right there is Craig. And the
Yeah.
current administration, it's so funny. The current administration, like the people are fear mongering about how they're actually evil, like, kind of like fascist people. And it's like
Mm.
I don't I think you're gonna be disappointed, actually. I think you're gonna be
Yeah.
disappointed
If you were hoping for
for your
fascism,
boogeyman.
you're not getting it. And if you're hoping for an
No,
evil dictator wearing high boots, it's not happening.
you're getting you're getting billionaire elite oligarch tech warlords who are going to do the same thing that, and
Hmm.
both parties are corrupt. One is just keeping you spiritually enslaved, and the other is going to keep you more financially
Yeah,
enslaved. And
financially enslaved for sure.
and so speaking of our beloved administration, if we want to switch
Let's
to
talk to JD
JD Vance,
Vance. Now,
yeah,
this we're gonna have to give a trigger warning. This is anti-Slavic.
anti-Slavitic,
Exactly. That's exactly
anti-Slavic, very
Slavic. Yeah,
anti-Slavitic,
yeah. Slavic.
anti-Slavitic of him.
Okay. During my
Yeah.
during my Senate campaign in 2022, I'll say it because I'm fat like him. I
Mm,
met a Ukrainian American man in Ohio. He was very angry about my views on the conflict and my desire to bring it to a rapid close. I can think of a lot of countries right now.
a
You are
lot of countries.
trying to abandon my country. I don't like it. Sir, I replied, your country is United States of America, and so is mine. I just want to pause for a second.
Is it?
Is
Is it really? Is it
I
really?
just there's just some irony here, and I can't place it. But
Something.
I just think of
Something
every
about
if
it.
you just think of every country in place of Ukraine, like Ukraine got invaded by the way. Ukraine got
Yeah.
invaded by the way. But if you think of every country in the world and every immigrant from every country that could be in the US, and you think of it, you're like, wow, imagine if a different country was sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always found it offensive that a new immigrant to our country would be willing to power and influence the new nation to settle the ethnic rivalries of the old.
Mm. The ethnic rivalries of the old. Interesting. Interesting. Don't look at the camera like that. Dude, I think that that should maybe just be like a universal principle. Don't you
Yeah,
agree that
for
we
every
shouldn't be?
country. I agree.
Yeah.
JD, I agree with you.
Yeah.
JD, you are absolutely right. We should not be doing this for any country
Mhm.
anywhere.
No. No,
Even
the
my
the
beloved
interest.
Lebanon and Maronites. Nope, I
Yeah.
agree. Forfeit them. I forfeit them. For
Yep.
no, but now no one gets this, right? One of the most important parts of assimilation is seeing your country as the USA.
Mm.
It's part of the
Interesting.
bargain. If you welcomed into our national family, you ought to look out for the interests of the United States. I know many immigrants who have the right perspective. I love that, the right perspective. That would
Right.
get you canceled if you
I know.
just used a different country.
Mhm.
And I'm grateful to them. For example, I met many Ukrainian Americans during the last campaign who agreed with my views, or at the very least asked the right questions what's in the best interest of the United States of
Interesting. That
America?
is so interesting. The idea that we should not be using our power and influence to settle old ethnic rivalries. That's
That
just
is wild. Who wrote
I
that
know.
for him? Did he come
Who
up
thought
with
of
that?
this?
I've
What
never
is
heard
the
a
point?
politician say that.
Is this like an allegory? Is it a hint? Is it a weird, like, false flag admission of something? I don't know exactly what the point is here, but there's no way the irony isn't dawning on Mr. Vance. Maybe he seems like a bright guy. I think he knows what he's doing with this statement. Um, I just find it funny. Yeah, I think that we should maybe universalize that rule. Maybe we shouldn't be using our power and influence to settle old ethnic rivalries.
I think
Oh
it's
my goodness.
really interesting.
Yeah,
Okay?
no.
We're just
Yeah.
gonna move
We're just
on.
gonna slide on
There's
here.
nothing
Yeah.
else to talk about there.
No, I have no idea
In
what you mean.
YouTube, we didn't break a TOS. I read the
No,
TOS, we didn't break a TOS. Just
not at all.
FYI.
It's so funny. So this is the most heartbreaking haka at a young man's funeral, led by his brother and friends. Now, first of all, obviously sad that the young man passed away. It's obviously sad. Um, but the dance does not seem to fit the occasion. So
Yeah.
if you want to play it,
It's not funny.
it's not funny.
Don't laugh. I
You know,
can't, man. I can't. I
I
can't keep a straight face during that.
No, no, and some people will say, like, well, what you find normal is relative to your culture, and I'm like, okay, well, here that's not normal.
Yeah. And also, like, not and I purposely didn't bring a link to show this, but there is like from my culture, there is a specific thing that you do, and it's similar. It's not a war chant. It's not a war cry,
Mm,
like a
mm,
war
mm.
banding. But it certainly isn't this. It's just people singing together in strength. That's it, like a chant,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
religious
no.
Maronite chant. So
Well,
I
it is.
understand the timbre of it, but this is just insane to me. This
It's
is
it's
absolutely insane.
it's very pagan. It's very old timey, and it's very warlike. And I think that not every culture's ideas are right. So I just I'm sorry. I just don't.
We aren't
I
cultural
just find it.
relativists at all. It's not
No,
even
I find it
close.
inappropriate. I find it inappropriate for a
I
funeral.
love
And
that they're in suit and ties though. They're doing a tribal, like very pagan thing, but they're like, actually, I had to get my pants fitted and my suit fitted, and then I got my tie sorted right, and now we're gonna do it.
well, that's the cool thing. We talked about this before, but like the way that Catholicism will incorporate different cultures, where you
Yeah.
can still keep a bit of it, but it sanctifies kind of the rituals and the practices that you have in your own culture. And I
Hmm.
think without that, without Christ in it, it does become very kind of pagan and fractured. And
Yeah. The Jesuits might
I
have
think
taken it
there's
too far though. The
yeah,
Jesuits were
yeah,
like, how can we just lie about this culture and make it completely Catholic when it's not?
yeah, 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 yeah. A little
So
too
funny.
accepting. The Jesuits started the ball rolling. Yeah. All
But
right,
let's
that's
move
enough of
on.
that
Yeah,
here.
that's enough.
Yeah. So, the effects of cold milk in hot tea. You were really the one who wanted to spearhead
Yeah, you're putting
this
it all
particular
on
campaign. I
me.
couldn't really
You're like,
care too much
what
about
the
it, but
fuck? Just guys,
let's see.
watch.
I like the jazz.
Oh yeah, no, the ambiance is perfect.
Mm, mhm.
Okay, so why did I show you a stupid teacup with milk?
Running
One,
out of ideas. I don't know.
exactly. No, but Science Girl posts
Mm,
this, and it gets 8.8 million views.
yeah.
The point is, the question then becomes, why is this viral? This wasn't botted. This wasn't like
No.
astroturfed. People actually, 8.8 million people actually looked at this, or at least 5 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did they watch it? Because this is the type of dumb shit people are into. This is the type of dumb
It's
shit people are
bullshit.
into.
Well, this reminds me of like those brain rot videos. Like it's gotten to the point where people's attention span, like you cannot sit and read a book anymore. Most people genuinely cannot focus
Mhm.
enough to read a book. And I don't think people realize like there was a couple studies that I had saw one of my mutuals go through on TikTok because of course I'm watching it on fucking TikTok instead of reading the study myself.
Oh yeah,
It's so funny. But
irony.
it's talking about how like over media consumption where it's just constant stimulation and just like fun thing to look at uh shrinks your certain parts of your brain. Like it literally rots your brain to do that because you're getting constant stimulation without actually working any of your muscles. Like you're not working your cognitive ability at all. And it's gone to the point where like okay, so like this video people just kind of go and look at it. And the same thing with like all these videos. There's so many accounts that take my videos where and I'm not even like I'll have a point, but I'll make it pithy and I'll make it punchy and I'll make it funny. And then in order for people to actually focus, they'll put like a little hydraulic press video right to the side because you have to look at like
Hmm.
a bunch of Doritos being crushed in order to be able to focus on the thing that I'm saying. And the thing that I'm saying is funny. And I took a minute to condense it down into literally a minute format, and people still need like the fun little circle with the
we're
thing
gonna be
bouncing in
doing
the
that for your
middle.
content, by the way. We're gonna get,
Absolutely.
we're
That's
gonna
how you got
ride
to
that wave, dude. That's how you triple your views.
well, you have to like you in order to get people to care about like important stuff, you have to like lace it with stupid poison.
Candy, literally lace it
Yeah,
with
yeah,
sugar.
yeah. If you want real meat, if you want the real meat and potatoes, you got to lather it with so much gravy. It's just
Honey,
sugar and bullshit.
just
Yeah,
pure honey, and
yeah, yeah. If you want people
even
eating your
chocolate.
pancakes,
The chocolate
yeah,
doesn't taste good, dude. Chocolate does not taste good if it's no sugar in it.
I know,
It
and it's
doesn't
good for you
taste
otherwise.
good. It's good for
Yeah,
you, but you got to put it
no,
with sugar.
I think you have to. And the other thing about this is the kind of thing that girls like. This is indicative. This is a perfect exemplification of the things that girls typically care about, which is girls like things to be nice. We've talked about this before. Guys don't care if things are nice.
They
As a
love things
man,
that are pleasant.
they
And
love
that's
yeah,
endearing, by the way. That's an endearing
yeah.
trait. We're not insulting that.
No, no, but there's sometimes a misunderstanding. Like I've had that conversation before where girls are like, you don't have a headboard. Your room is just like a TV and a chair. I'm like, yeah, because I don't care about having a nice life. Like that's not an important thing to
I
me.
know.
And oftentimes it takes a woman to like open a man up to like actually caring about the experience that they're having a
Yeah,
little
like
bit instead of just the
exactly.
goals. Go to the
It's
next one because this is what
this is the
guys this is guy
contrast.
that's girl brain rot. This is guy brain rot. For those of you listening, it's a chameleon, I think.
Yep, and
Is it
this
a
place is
chameleon?
infested. Yeah, it's a chameleon, and it's infested with flies. This whole thing.
And so he's using me. Chameleon. Animal abuse. Animal use.
This,
Got
yeah,
him.
just cleaning up the
Got him.
flies.
That's so funny.
Because the tongue, it's actually like just to stop this. That tongue goes out so quickly. It's better than what you could ever do to kill a fly. Like if you
I
tried to
know.
smush it, it's just way
Well,
better.
you know what's so funny is so like women want to fill their life. Like women are empty and want to be perpetually filled. Men are full and want to be perpetually emptied. So I'm so serious. And so men want to women feel like infinity is like they want like infinite love to be like to be wrapped in
Embraced.
it, right?
Yeah.
And then so that's why that's the things they care about. Like it's like the niceties of life, and like that's why a girl's best friend is a diamond, right? But a guy's best friend is a dog, right? Because a dog helps you get to that next level. Like a woman's life is like decorating a house. Even the things that she does in her day to day, like she goes to yoga and does the thing, and she has a nice career, and she has a nice husband, and it's like give me the things, bring it all in. And as a man, it's like I just want to get to the next level. It's a video game, and the dog is
It's
like
refinement. It's actually thing like getting things versus refining things. And it's like, well,
yeah,
men have
yeah,
to get a family too. It's like, yeah, that's not the point, retard. The
yeah,
point
yeah.
is that it's like not just to have a wife, but to have a wife and have the same values, to have children that live up to your
Yeah,
image, like X,
yeah,
Y, and Z, like to live to your ideals. And that doesn't mean force your children into your ideals, but it means raise them. It means
yeah,
be
yeah,
involved and raise them.
yeah.
So
It's the accomplishment and it's the refinement of your life. And
yeah,
for a woman, it's like there's a part of that too. It's not one or the other. Men
yeah,
enjoy
of
having nice
course.
things in their life too, but that's like the general paradigm. And it's so funny because you talk about the way that people relate to the infinite and their finite desires, and the way men and women do. They both do, but they do it in like sort of a reciprocal, opposite way.
Yin and yang.
Um, Not to too much intellectualize a video of a chameleon eating flies. He just goes, "Bloop, bloop." It's so get him. Yeah, that a boy.
I
That a
got
boy. Yeah.
him.
All right, let's hit the next thing here. What's up next here?
So
Oh yeah.
this is fucked. Okay,
Oh, it's so bad.
a
It's
friend,
so bad.
my friend's boyfriend, okay, is talking about how this kid, his girlfriend got fucked by the kid's father. Okay, the
Ugh,
boyfriend of the girlfriend's father, and the father apparently said, "I want to fuck you where my son fucked you,"
it's so
and they
bad,
did
dude.
it in that kid's room.
Show the girl for a second. Just
Yeah.
dox her. She's already doxed.
Well, we're not
And there's a
doxing her, but this is what she looks like.
beautiful, yeah, beautiful young woman.
No morality.
It's no
No
morality,
morality.
and so the thing I wanted to harp on here is like a lot of the times people talk about when people talk about cheating, right? People talk about in the relationship the responsibility of the people not to cheat. But like, okay, this is a very extreme example of it, but it's a father and a son. You have a general Christian, agape responsibility to other people to not fuck up their relationships too.
No.
And like it's both people's responsibility. You wouldn't want that done to you. This is obviously an extreme example of it, but you should not be engaging in behaviors that pull people from the committed relationships that they have because people don't always do
Mhm.
the thing that's best for them. And you're like a drug dealer tempting people with like crack cocaine and being like, well, they took it. It's like, yeah, but you were dealing it. And that's what people do.
Yeah, no,
That's
you don't just
it's
bear
just
your own
horrendous.
sin. If you're luring other people into sin, you bear that too. That's a deeply Catholic, and that's also goes to a mortal sin level as well. If you entice someone to mortal sin, you also have committed a mortal sin.
Because that's yeah, it's leading people astray is just as wrong as
Yeah.
doing it yourself, or in
There's
a lot
many
of cases,
biblical
just as wrong.
quotes. There's a lot of biblical
Yeah,
quotes that back that up, by the way, for all the sola scriptura guys in the chat.
yeah, yeah. So here's the good Trump, right? Here's a little bit of the good Trump. So the no tax on tips bill passed. House Republican budget resolution
So
explained.
It's not that it fully passed. It's that the House Republicans. It was like 2017. It's right here.
Mm,
215. Right
mm-hmm.
now, it has to go to the Senate and be deliberated. This is actually going to have to be deliberated on what the bill is actually going to be. This was a resolution, I believe.
Mm, mm-hmm. This is
Um,
good. Having a law student here is good for this, some of these finer
that's
points.
I briefly looked into this, so if I get it wrong, don't hold me accountable.
So just
But
let me just reiterate my knowledge here and just tell me if I'm on point. So if a bill
mhm,
is introduced in, say, the House, it has to then go to the Senate, and
yeah,
it has to pass a majority vote in each, and then
yeah,
and then if
mhm.
there's differences, they resolve the two, and there's certain committees and checkpoints along the way, and then it goes to the president, right?
Yeah, and the president can veto it or sign it, right?
And then if he vetoes
This is a
it, they can.
resolution, though. I forget the. I'm pretty sure a resolution isn't is more the preliminary phase of
Yeah,
like,
okay.
okay, we agree that these general things should be happening. Then the Senate's like, okay, well, we'll now talk with you about what can be actually proposed. Then it will go
Mm,
through the House and the Senate. I don't actually think we even have it like past the House yet, per se.
okay.
This is just a
Yeah.
resolution. I don't believe it's actually a bill of like that they're trying to pass yet.
I
Yeah,
thought it
see, the
was
House and
written
the
up
Senate can now
in such
negotiate
a
how to move
form. Yeah.
forward to implement. Yeah, exactly. It's just a resolution.
Yeah.
It's not actually something that's
The
going to be.
resolution the resolution is seeking 4.5 trillion in tax breaks and 2 trillion in spending cuts over the next 10 years, measures that have met opposition from
Democrats,
Democrats.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
So it's like
Republicans.
no Democrats voted for it, it seems like it from what
None.
I had seen.
Not
None.
one Democrat voted for no tax on tips.
So
But
I think the positivity of this is
oh,
say somebody's working.
and
Yeah.
overtime, which is actually bigger. I actually think that's the best part of the bill if that actually passes.
Now, one thing I wanted to put in an amendment there, or an asterisk there. I think there probably, if it does get legislated officially, there will be some type of cap on it because, like, people who own their own businesses can report X amount of overtime work for themselves. I think it'd be easy to fudge, and then there's also probably loopholes by which you can say a good portion of your income is
Well,
technically
probably be a
tipped.
W-2 employee, right? It would probably have to be like if there's I mean for business owners themselves, I'm not sure about that shit.
Yeah,
Because I haven't worked in that type of tax yet. But
yeah.
but for a W-2 employee, it's pretty I don't know if they'll cap it, but let me put it like this. If you're making $20 an hour, you made much more than double if you work 67 hours.
Yeah, tax-free too, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I mean, the people who are going to be doing overtime, it's gonna be a lot of people who do physical labor. I think
Mhm.
that gives you an opportunity to try to snowball your money a little bit, as especially like younger dudes in their 20s, plumbers, people who work in the service industry. If you can keep more of
Mhm.
your money and then you can start to become a little bit more sovereign and independent, without funding a bunch of different government programs that I don't think are really the best use or implementation of that money. I think that's a great plan. I think that's good. I don't see
Yeah.
any problem with it. I mean, I'm not an economist, but like, give me more of my money back
Let
and
more
stop
people
spending it on
have money
bullshit.
so they can afford their goddamn house and family. Like this is a
Yeah,
pro
yeah,
family bill in that respect.
yeah. I
There's
think that's
obviously
fine.
other shit, and we're not going to unpack an entire bill. That's nauseating.
Yeah, yeah.
But bad
So,
Trump.
and then here is the bad Trump. This isn't even the really bad Trump. This is just the regular bad Trump. So, President Trump announces the US will replace the EB-5 program with a new gold card as opposed to a green card. It's a gold card. They'll be able to pay 5 million to the US government. They'll have to go through vetting, of course. The president can give them a green card and they can invest in America, and we can use that money to reduce our deficit. So essentially, what is happening here is you can now buy your way into American citizenship if this does get officially, passed here, if this becomes law.
Horrible.
Um,
That's a horrible idea.
yeah, that's not really. I mean, supposedly you keep hearing this from the current administration. People are not Our country is not interchangeable economic units, and then they keep pushing legislation that would make people to be
Yeah,
interchangeable economic units. I
completely.
don't think American citizenship should be up for sale, no matter how much money you have. I don't believe that whatsoever.
Yeah, it's about the American people and the people that were legally allowed in. It's like, well, we should just expand it legally. It's like, yeah, now you want to make it where any form, like any American that's been here for the majority of America's history, most white Anglo-Saxon Protestants in the country, like all these other people, yeah, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
We're just going to import people with more money than you,
Yep.
and you're going to be poor.
Yep.
They're going to
Yep.
use the H-1B program in tandem with this, and they're never going to hire you. Good luck. Because
Yep.
H-1B is way cheaper labor than you. It's always when you open borders and free trade, it is a race to the bottom.
Yep.
Period.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially in this economy right now where there's not a lot of industry, it's mostly a service based, consuming, debt based economy. The people who are high income earners, who right now, I mean, those are the people who, doctors, lawyers, people who work in like tech jobs and kind of more high level, supposedly high level careers. Letting them in from everywhere opens the whole thing up to just chaos. I think it's a bad plan. Um, the other thing is that people at the top, they end up getting access to the cheapest debt. That would be kind of the issue with it too.
Hmm.
It is a race to the bottom, I think, opening up the border in that way.
And that's how you
Uh,
consume your neighbor. If you have the cheapest debt, you can outspend your neighbor at every single. It's literally war against your neighbor, the usury. And by the way, Catholic point. What does it say about usury, want?
uh, Wrong. It's not,
Mortal sin.
yeah,
Mortal sin.
yeah, yeah. No, I don't think this is a great plan. I think that's predatory against kind of the middle and lower class people.
Hmm.
I think that the opportunity should be you should create. I mean, really, this is kind of a distributist point, but the point of the economy should be really to allow the most people to own their own quote unquote means of production and own their own property. And you should create a system in which you're actually trying to allow the people here to flourish to that level. And it's not just opening it up and allowing just free reign. Turn the country into basically a pay to get in fucking globalist airport. I don't think
Yeah,
that's a good
dude.
plan.
And then Vivek, we don't have the post in front of us right now, but Vivek was saying, and I'm going to loosely quote him: America isn't a place; it's an idea. It's like, no, no, it's actually south of Canada and it's north of Mexico. It's definitely a place.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is. And
Like, what are we doing?
the ideal meets with the people, but like it wouldn't, this is like a ship of Theseus kind of thing. It's like there's a continuity of identity that's reliant on the people. It's not just the concept of America. Um, yeah, I mean, people might make the argument though. So people might make the argument that like getting high skilled, people with money from other places is going to be beneficial for the economy. What do you think about that? How would you respond to that?
Could you repeat? My bad. I wanted to bring
No,
up
that's
the
all right.
quote
Yeah,
for us.
America isn't a place; it's an idea that brought together or divided. Yeah, no, no, it's definitely a place. Some people will argue this idea that allowing, high skilled or, economically advantaged people from other places into the country will be beneficial for the economy.
It, and I'm not saying it doesn't have a short-term gain for the economy. But when you outsource all your industry, why do you think China's such a big player? We gave them basically all the industry of the world that we import. Then you go further when you're reliant on all these other nations for your industry, even if you are on top, even if you are swiping the cream of the cream, it's a short-term benefit in a debt economy. You
Yeah,
will eventually owe more than you could possibly pay back, right?
yeah, yep,
And
yep.
that's why
And
it
then
doesn't work. If it wasn't debt based, it might have worked. That's the funniest thing. If it wasn't debt based, it might have worked, or at least on its own people, it wasn't debt based.
so explain how that works a little bit more when you say
So let's
the
say
the debt
I give
component
you
of it makes it.
$100, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
And then I tell you, you owe me 10% interest every year on that.
Hmm.
The issue isn't even per se that $100 goes to 110. The real issue, even though again that's not ideal, the real issue is this. It's called Ziefkaf if you don't do the compounded interest. It's the compounded interest,
Mm,
okay? Where it goes 110, 121. That $1, you might say it's just $1. We're
yeah,
talking about billions and trillions here.
yeah,
It doesn't work. You
yeah,
always
yeah,
end up, even if it's just that $1, you now had to print a dollar in the fiat currency system
yep.
that never existed. And you
Hmm.
got to get it from somewhere. So what's it now? Here's the big economic idea. What's it leveraged against? Your labor, your future labor,
Yeah, yeah,
right? And then
yep.
you have
And
all
then
these entitlements laced in with it. It's just absolutely going to fail.
you can't pull yourself out of that. That's a spiral, and then people end up
Hmm.
owning your soul. And I think when you say fiat currency, like
You mean
when
the
we
US
switched from
dollar? Yeah, off the gold
Yeah,
standard,
yeah,
Woodrow
yeah,
Wilson.
when we switched off the gold standard, like, there's nothing backing your money, so they continually print more of it,
Mhm.
and then the whole thing becomes inflated, and then the value of the dollar gets exponentially less, and then people who that hurts is your everyday regular person. The people who benefit from it are the people who are, the debtors, not the deadees.
Yeah. The one that gives, yeah, exactly, the debtors. The
Yeah,
creditors really is what you should, the proper term is the
creditors, yeah.
creditors.
Creditors, the
But
debtors. Yeah.
but that's the whole point of it, right?
Mm,
That's the whole issue of this is the situation we're in. And then we have people that have literally and allegedly run a scam on pharmaceuticals to strip billions of dollars from Americans,
yep.
telling us that America isn't a place, it's an idea, and that we're a nation of laws. I would like the
Yeah,
laws that hold you accountable for your scams,
yeah,
allegedly.
yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
laws
that's the
I would
laws
like
I
to
want.
see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The law can be laws that privilege or help the people, the actual people in the country. That should be the laws in the country. I mean, this guy. I mean, he lost, I think, a lot of credibility when it came to the H-1B
Oh yeah,
situation. I think that kind
completely.
of
He
really
called
hurt
all
his
Americans
reputation.
lazy.
Yeah, no, no.
Europeans work freaking 20 hours, 30 hours a week. We all work minimum 40 hours a week.
I know, I know.
But you're just lazy pieces of shit because you don't work 90 hours a week ignoring your families. It's like, okay, Elon. Okay,
I know.
Elon. How's that going for you?
I know.
Ashley Sinclair.
They've co-opted the kind of the American dream language and a lot of the conservative language to trick people into thinking that like it's patriotism to just open up the borders and allow people from other countries and other economies to kind of
Mm.
predatorily strip people of their own money, just ruin the value of
And
your own currency.
I'll go
I
further
think it's
though. One
yeah.
more thing to add, and I want to really take this all the way to the ballpark, right? Bro, they act like working 90 hours a week is the ideal. We're not telling you to be lazy. We're
Mm,
telling you to be successful, go out and fucking crush it. Go get a law degree. Go if you can get it with scholarships and shit or somehow leverage the debt into a much lower avenue, right?
yeah, yeah,
Go crush it. However, we're not saying work 90 hours a week at a 7-Eleven. Invest in yourself.
yeah, yeah,
You don't need to
yeah.
do 90 hours a week to do that at
Well,
all.
the other problem, I mean, it feels like we're just like a giant. It feels like we're a whale that's been beached, and then there's a bunch of things just kind of eating off of it. That seems to be the case with the kind of influx of low skilled labor when it comes to just illegal immigrants, right? So it's almost like being attacked from both sides,
Oh yeah,
because then
completely.
that devalues quote unquote unskilled labor to the point that like you said, it is a race to the bottom. Um, and then you have people trying to expand the borders for legal immigration to then take jobs from, American graduates who have a degree in tech and then give it to somebody who's still gonna work for less. And then the people
Hmm.
that benefit from that are the ultra rich, people who are actually employing these folks. And it's a scam. It is a
Completely.
scam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
all to defraud the worker of his wage. Another mortal sin, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally
Yeah.
to
Right. Right.
defraud the worker of his wage. That's the whole
Uh,
point of it.
yeah. Yeah.
So
Next
to
election. Next election. Um, I think just vote Kanye. I'm just kidding.
I think yay
So funny.
2028. My
So
God.
freaking funny.
So
Let's go
funny.
to there was one really bad Trump.
Before we get there,
Mm,
right? So,
interesting, yeah.
Blackwater CEO Eric Prince says, "Hey, listen, I know you guys said mass deportations. I see that you guys aren't deporting anyone really. You're just acting like you are. I, in the private sector, would like to help you, and it will only be for $25 billion.
And how
That's it.
many? They're gonna supposedly deport 12
12
million before the
million.
2026 midterms.
Mm-hmm. And that includes acquisition costs of like hiring the workers, getting the planes, getting everything up and running, right? Like startup.
Mm, mm,
I wouldn't even doubt if they did this immediately. Like, let's say Trump, like he spends 500 billion on AI,
mm.
right? He then goes and puts 25 billion to Eric Prince. I wouldn't
Yeah.
even doubt if he put it to 50 billion, he could maybe even cheaper than that, but they'll take the profit. Get it to 30 million illegal immigrants.
Yeah, I mean, that would be nice. I
That'd be
think
insane.
what people don't realize is, you had this conversation come out about the fact that getting rid of illegal immigrants will have kind of a negative effect
Huge negative
immediately.
impact
That
immediately.
but in the long term, not relying on other groups of people for our labor is a good thing.
Yeah, because if you rely on illegal workers for for your food supply, for your being a waitress, waiter, first off, that means anyone that maybe isn't as smart enough to be a rocket scientist, maybe should be a waiter for most of their life. Not talking down to you, it's a real job.
Yep.
The truth of the matter is that they're being defrauded of their wage because of this race to the bottom.
Yep. Yep.
But if you force Americans to fill in that supply, first off, you'll be paid more, even though the price of everything will go up. Every
Yeah.
egg, everything's going to go up. But it
Yeah.
also will incentivize homesteading and people having more sovereignty over their food so that we don't just say packaged in America and then call it a product in America for where you got your cow, like your beef from or your chicken.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll have much closer ties to actually good, nutritious food from the land.
Yeah, it's a matter of, like, just cleaning up the system and weaning off of the need for other groups of people. The people who end up suffering from this, I think, the most are the middle class people because there's
Oh,
no
for
in
sure.
between now. You either get to, like, it's so inflated, it's so debt based at this point that you end up spending 20 years of basically wage slavery to try to pretend you own a house from the
Hmm.
bank. Um, eh,
Mortgage. What does that mean?
yeah, it's a death contract. It's
Yeah,
yeah,
literally.
yeah, mortal. It's like mort. Um, and
Hmm.
then, when it comes to the unskilled wages, they've just been completely bottomed out where it is the lowest common denominator. And that's going to be impacted by the fact that there's a bunch of illegal immigrants who are getting paid for much less. And then on the higher end, now they're deferring jobs out to other groups of people, and you can buy your way into the country. I mean, it's just complete. It's like a wholesale. It's a yard sale.
Hmm.
And then the people that are suffering are the people who want to have an established life here. Um, yeah, it's not good. I think this would be worth it. I mean, if we can spend what was it, 500 billion on AI, we can spend 25 on getting rid
Yeah, literally.
of
We can
30
spend
million
how
people. I
much
mean,
percent is that? 5%? Can we put 5% of our AI budget to doing the promise that he said, which is
I know.
we are gonna mass deport people. That's what the borders are that Catholic said Tom, I don't want to say Homan, but it's something like
Yeah,
that. It starts with an H. And he's like, we're gonna be mass deport, we're gonna start with the criminals, and we're gonna get the rest. It's like, you guys haven't done shit.
yeah,
Promises
yeah.
made, definitely not kept.
Mm,
So let's get
mm-mm.
to the worst of Trump. This is by far the worst of Trump.
Ugh. Complete- For those of you just listening, it's Gaza 2025. It is an AI generated party scenario with just oh, listen to the music.
Coming to set you free, bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Top Gaza is
Why do those women, they do it really short, why do those women have beards?
Yeah, it's AI generated trans
Yeah, literally, the AI
belly
did
dancers.
did trans belly dancers.
And it looks like a weird, like, Turks and Caicos kinda, like, island
Yeah.
situation. It looks like a tropical paradise.
Mm.
Gaza is finally here.
What are
Top
we
Gaza
doing?
shining bright. Golden future, a brand new life. Feast the
What
dead,
the
revealing
fuck?
Trump with a belly dancer that's naked in front of him. Like, what?
Yeah, you're
You're
married.
married.
You're
You're
married.
married. But we knew Trump is a disgusting cheater. That's not why people voted him.
No. Look at Elon with his
number
money.
one.
I know.
Top Gaza shining bright. Golden future,
Of course, the Trump statue. Trump
It's so
Gaza.
crazy.
brand new
It's
life.
actually
Feast the
insane.
dead, the deal is done.
Look at him. It's BB and Trump.
BB!
It's so
BB!
the fuck? What is that? Oh, man. Oh my
Top Gaza.
goodness.
And this will only cost you over 50 billion. Just another perspective. This is over a $50 billion project in many years, and not only in security and XYZ. I'm only asking for 25. If I'm being greedy, it's 50 for the whole term. What are we doing here?
Why is this important?
Why is this our number one agenda?
We're paying for it.
We're gonna pay for
There
all of it.
They're not paying for it. You're paying for it.
You're paying for it. Look at your wallet. Look at your wallet right now. There could have been an extra $100 in there, minimum, for all of you.
This is just
Wow.
it's fucking lunacy.
And they look at you straight in the eye and they
And
just,
they're like, "This is good.
this is
You'll
good.
like this."
I can't believe, like, we went from talking about the ethnic cleansing of millions of people, okay? He just says, and now he's to insult to injury. Do you hear the crying of all the souls of the dead children seeping from the blood? Like the blood of Abel. Like, that's what I hear. The crying
Yeah.
of blood in the background, this whole fucking video.
Dude, they bombed, like they destroyed, like, 50% of the buildings.
60.
60 yeah,
60%.
60% of the infrastructure as like, and then
Hospitals.
the idea that this wasn't the plan,
Like, and
like, the no,
listen,
like, the idea that this wasn't it's so
and
it's not slick.
And I'm gonna put another side of this. I'm not saying I'm like, I love the Palestinian people. Dude, the Palestinian people went into Lebanon and tried raping Maronites, okay? Like the
Yeah.
PLO. I know my history as a Lebanese Maronite. But we're talking about the blood of millions of, like
Millions.
hundreds of thousands
Children.
minimum of
They killed, like,
children.
10% of the population.
It was horrible. And more, I think more. I think it was like 20 to 30%. It was horrible.
And it's like, you're not like, bro, the idea like, it's the way that the sequence of events played out is just so fucking perfectly convenient.
I know.
It's so perfectly convenient.
Well, they have hostages, so we have to keep bombing until the hostages are gone. It's like, listen, and
Are they
there's,
gone yet?
I think we're
Are
getting
they
rid of
gone?
some of them. But again, and listen, I'm not gonna like. Of course, if there are hostages, Israel has an incentive, right? And we're not going to be blatantly just saying Israel's evil. The blood of children, though, that's what we're focusing on. It's like, yeah, sure, kill the terrorists. No one's saying like Hamas is good people,
Mm-mm.
right? My point though is that the level of extreme, like, there have been reports of children being shot. Were they a terrorist? Were they a terrorist?
No, no, no. And then hospitals and things. 60% of the infrastructure is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's
That's
so
indiscriminate.
convenient. No.
That is not specialized targeting like the quote unquote Hezbollah attack in Beirut with the pagers.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty specialized. Now it is
Mhm.
wild because that makes you question supply chains and like the sovereignty of being able to buy and purchase goods that are literally going to be infiltrated by Israeli military
Yeah.
operations. Right? That literally puts into question ever buying Israeli goods because they could literally put bombs in them. That's wild lined across. However, it was 7 years ago. That's still at least more precise than 60% of the infrastructure.
And then conveniently enough, now it's a parking lot, and then you can build
Yeah,
your
now
thing
we
on
get
it.
Trump Gaza. It's
It's
as
this is
big as
actually
Mar-a-Lago. It's going to be as big as Trump Hotel.
this is actually the most deranged thing I think I've
It's
ever seen.
evil.
It's
This
so crazy.
it's literally evil. It's like, could we just like, America's the good guys though, right? We're always the good guys.
No.
There's no way this is what good guys look like.
No. No, we do not look like the good people here.
Like, it'd be one thing if you maybe put some surveillance and like all that type of shit and you really like vetted out all the terrorists, right? But
Mm,
what about the, like, would you want people to treat America as this has been treated? No,
no.
seriously, because America does war crimes all the time. We have the CIA, we destabilize a bunch of nations, X, Y, and
See,
Z.
the CIA, the track record of the CIA
It's fucking
is
wild.
is insane. It's actually insane that these people work with no jurisdiction. Like they work with no without any supervision.
Yeah,
And they literally are. They're sanctioned to do war crimes. They
yeah,
can do whatever
whatever
they
the
want.
president wants. They are
Yeah,
at the behest of the president.
it's
The
it's insane.
I have family members in government. They all hated CIA. They all said they were the scummiest people in the world. They wouldn't trust them even with $1.
Well, supposedly there were similar paramilitary efforts um, in this particular area before.
Dude. Dude, it's just, all I'm gonna say is this. the whole region has had so many hands in the pot.
Mm,
So many hands in the pot. And I'm not saying all the Palestinian people are innocent.
no,
Obviously not. Obviously, kill every Hamas terrorist. No one
I
here is
just don't.
saying, like, but come on, children, man.
I I'm just, you know what I think? I just think that we shouldn't use our nation's power and influence to settle old ethnic what was it? Old ethnic rivalries.
Like,
It
it's,
looks real settled.
yeah.
It looks really settled.
You know what? I think this ethnic rivalry has been extremely settled.
Mm,
Extremely settled.
yeah, I think it's about done. I think it's
Yeah.
about enough. Ah, man.
I still can't believe they want to ethnically. Like, when I heard that they were going to displace 1.8 million people, I was like, you can't possibly think this is the correct. I was like, there's no way. Like, I can think back 80 years. Okay, I can think back to 80 years in history,
Yeah.
world history.
Yeah, right.
Weren't we supposed to be the people that always stood against that?
Yeah. Yeah. No, apparently not.
Apparently
Apparently
not.
not.
And
It's
then
insanity.
and then the reasoning
Now, do you
is,
think this would have happened? Do you think this would have happened whether or not Trump got in office?
I don't know, man.
I don't know either.
I don't know, but all I'm gonna say is, like, under Biden, these children were being bombed. It's like, you
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? And Trump's trying to say, well, I'm stopping the bombings. It's like, you're literally kicking people out of their homeland.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you
I
talking about? And then there's
yeah.
also this narrative of, like, no, they're actually Egyptian. Fuck off, man. That's just like those fucking degenerates, these degenerate Muslims who will claim, and not all Muslims are degenerates, not even close. I have many Muslim friends. They're great people. I'm talking about the degenerate Muslims, though, in Lebanon, that will say the Maronites are of Indian descent. So therefore, they have no claim. We have been here for 1,600 years on the land. Do you think there's been a stream from India? The entire, like,
Yeah, I know.
what are you talking about? It's literally, I hate that argument so much because it's
Yeah.
so obviously a political lie
Yep.
to
To try to
warrant
justify your
colonialism, genocide,
ethno
XYZ.
ethno-nationalist claims to a particular piece of
Dude,
soil.
it
I yeah,
and
I
it's
don't think
all,
I mean, the land, it doesn't it doesn't matter that much where you live. I don't I don't think that when it comes to, like, children living, that's
Mhm.
not less important than your claims to a particular piece of geography. I don't think so. I just personally don't think that.
Like,
As a Catholic, I
but
don't think
don't
so.
don't worry, they'll reverse it though and be like, and that's why they should be moved to save their lives, right? They're like,
Yeah,
oh
right.
yeah, and they'll
It's
reverse
coming
it right
anyway.
on you, dude. It's
Yeah,
like,
actually, I'm driving my car at these people going 60, so somebody should get
now
them out of the way.
I have a question though, right?
Hmm.
I have a question to not crash out or anything. So Jordan is already. Let's just look it up because that's what they want to do. Egypt and Jordan, right? So how many people are Palestinian in Jordan? You think this hasn't already been around 3
3
million?
million.
Half of
Hmm.
Jordan's population.
Yeah.
Okay, they want to move 1.8 million. Let's say they split between the middle, right? And
So
they put
Jordan and
nine,
Egypt, right?
yup, 900K to Jordan, 900K to Egypt.
Mm.
I have a question. If you're a child of, listen, even my own family, my Lebanese side, my Maronite side, we still carry the stories of what the Ottoman Empire did to the Maronites in our own tradition, passed by mouth, of how much
Yeah.
we hate what they did. Do you think the children that were moved from their homes after being bombed and saw nothing but a wasteland are going to be normal people
No. You think
growing
they're
up
not
in a
gonna
land? They're
do
going
you
to
think they're
hate
not gonna
Israel
hate and the United States?
and the United States
No, viscerally, forever.
because you bombed. Not
Like,
only did you bomb them, you then kicked them out of the land where their blood is tied.
no, that's biblical level vengeance and hatred forever.
And now they're going to be a majority in another country.
Bro, we keep making enemies and letting our own sons die for wars
Well, I
that
mean,
we should not be
don't
part
worry.
of. We
Don't worry. I
sh
have a great solution. We should. This is what they're going to say too. I'm calling it 50 years in advance. We need to bomb Jordan. They are a radical Islamic state and they hate our greatest ally. And then after Jordan's all rubble, let's move him to Egypt. Now
Yep.
Jordan can be either a U.S. colony or it can be a greater part of Israel.
Right,
That's
right,
all
right.
that's going to happen. It's more bloods coming down the line. So
I know
peace.
In Iran and Iraq,
Oh
right,
yeah,
just heading a little bit
they
over
just keep going
to the
east.
east, right? Yeah, yeah.
Might as well
What
get
is it?
Lebanon while you're there.
It's so it's Iran,
Israel,
Iraq, Israel, Jordan, Syria.
yeah, Syria. Okay, so it's Lebanon, Israel, right? Then
Yeah.
Lebanon, Syria is a bit above and right of Lebanon,
Yep.
and it kind of connects to
Iran.
Israel. Then you have Jordan. No, then you have Jordan, right east of
Jordan's
Israel.
but Jordan's
Like
east or
yeah, east of
south at
Israel,
all.
east
Okay.
and south-ish because of Syria. But
Yeah, yeah.
the whole point here, and then Iran and Iraq, of course, like they've
Mm.
been itching for a war with Iran.
And
But
then Egypt
again,
is to the south.
Egypt is in Africa, connecting. Is
Yeah, yeah,
Africa
south. Yep,
connecting to the
yep,
Middle East? Yeah.
yep.
So this is just going to be more blood. Like if you
Yeah.
thought it stopped with the children of Gaza, we are not actually situating ourselves for peace.
No, this is conquest, colonial
Yeah, this
conquest,
is
like
just
actual colonialism.
conquest in phases.
Yeah, yeah. And it
That's all I
and
see.
they have to disguise it according to certain narratives where it'll be the justification to set up the next X, Y, and Z phase.
Yeah.
And the United States has bought in. Our country's bought in.
Yeah.
Obviously, clearly, our country's fucking bought in.
Yeah. We literally are saying we're
This
going to
is,
own Gaza. We
and
said
to be
we're
quite
going to
honest,
own Gaza.
this is nothing that the American people should have any interest in.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. None.
And to be more
Nope.
like to be even clearer, if we really did want satellite outposts for like oil, mineral, like military aggression,
Or go to Lebanon.
literally used to be a fully Christian country. Literally was like 70% Christian 50 years ago, 70 years ago,
They accord with our values more.
completely. And
You
and
know,
even
and
then, it would be
or
it
take
wouldn't be
Greenland. I mean,
conquering Greenland.
take fucking Greenland. Who
But
cares?
think of it like this, even further. Lebanon wouldn't be a conquest of land. It would just be asserting the land that's already been there and keeping it a stable country. That country is not going to be stable in
No.
30 years. That country is going to war, whether it's with Israel or with itself. There will
Mm.
be another civil war in Lebanon, and it will be bloodier than all the other ones. Obviously. Again, it doesn't seem like peace in the region has ever been on the US's mind
No. Nope.
at all. And not just something
No.
as Americans of like, do you want war? Do you want, like, what type of empire do we want to be? Right? I have no issue with the Panama Canal retaking it. I have no issue with Greenland taking it over for strategic military things. But, like, those don't involve bombing children.
No.
That's a completely
Nope.
different war,
No.
quote unquote. It's not
No.
even a war, it's an acquisition.
You know, and
Uh,
people complain about the tariff, the trade war with Canada, the tariff situation. You know,
mhm.
joking about taking over Canada. There is nothing that Canada could do. Nobody would get hurt. There would be zero. There'd be zero blood. We wouldn't have to bomb 60% of the infrastructure.
I say make it a
Same thing with
colony.
Greenland.
Make it a
Same thing with Panama.
colony.
Panama used to be ours. We gave it up for no
Yeah.
reason.
For $1.
For $1.
For a
It's
dollar.
ridiculous. No,
And they
take
didn't
it
even
back. I mean,
honor the agreement. They didn't even
if we're
honor
gonna
the
be
agreement.
if we're gonna be an empire, at least be good at it, and you have to be somewhat ethical
And
with it.
yeah, dude, and just be as moral as you can be. This is like one of the most evil things I can imagine. And again, I'm not endorsing Palestinian terrorists, and I'm talking about strictly the children being bombed, indiscriminate bombing, infrastructure
Yeah.
being completely leveled, and now we're gonna make a beach party on it.
It's so disrespectful too. It actually is. It's like
Like,
very, very. It's
you
you know
want
what
to
it
talk
is.
about colonialism?
There's no reverence. You know, there's no respect. Um,
Yeah.
but you know, and like at bare minimum, we should be trying to protect the interests of the American people, promote the economy for the American people,
Hmm.
prevent kind of invasions of other groups of people. We
Yeah.
shouldn't be racing to the bottom, selling our country out to other influences. And then if we're gonna do the empire thing, like we should not be intervening in, thousands of year old blood conflicts with other groups of
Yeah.
people
And the
because
other
of our
thing,
connection to a foreign agent.
and you
I
want to know what
mean,
I don't understand? The thing I don't understand especially is like Israel's sovereignty. has never really been in question so long as America backs it. Like, okay, you get what I mean? Unless
Mm.
Israel thinks we're no longer going to back it, there really is no need for war because we are the greatest military power the world has ever seen.
It would be enough.
Our
It would be
threat,
enough to have us in the corner.
yeah, and
That is
it really
enough.
is. And they're like, well, what about October 7th? It's like, okay, first off, we're not going to get into the idea of maybe Israeli intelligence knew about it,
No.
even though
We'll
those
just
reports have been coming out. But
we'll
we're not
just
going
mention
to,
that that's an idea
that's an idea. But
that some people have.
Let's go further. Even with that, how many Palestinian children need to die and be and ethnically cleansed by removal for it to be considered? This is not eye for an eye. This is I stubbed my toe and now you're losing every body part and I'm harvesting your organs.
Yeah, yeah, it's exactly that. And then I'm making a dinner party out of it.
Yeah, and it's a feast.
Fuck.
Like this
Fucking
isn't
A.
even close to it. And it's like, well, now they're never going to do it again. It's like
Yeah, because
Jordan,
they're dead.
Jordan
Because
and
they're all
40. Yeah,
gone or dead.
they're dead, and Jordan's now going to become the new enemy.
Yeah, yeah. You're never gonna spit on my shoe again because I'm gonna decapitate you.
It's just, it's just generational hatred. There's no way this is American interest. And even for Israel's interest, I know what, like, I understand Israel's interest in this. They can expand their territory. They can get more, like, they can become a world power from the Middle East if this keeps up,
No one,
especially with AI.
no one is fucking vacationing here. Nobody.
You think
No
so?
one's, no one's fucking going there.
Dude, I
No.
think
Why
people
would you go
will.
there?
I think people will.
No. Mm-mm. Some people, but you think people are? You think people are going to be like? Because you know what? It's not going to be
Dude, all
safe.
it takes
It's
is
still.
three generations, man.
It's still not. Well, yeah. That far down the road,
It takes
sure.
three
But
generations, and then all that
it's
blood is
not going to be.
forgotten.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sadly.
I don't think it'll be safe. I don't think it'll ever be safe.
All I'm gonna say is this: is bare minimum, they need the Levant coalition if they want it to be. You need to at least control some type of area, and
Mm,
in Israel and Gaza isn't even enough to quote unquote secure your safety. The threat of America should be enough, but if you really want to talk about like pure safety where you'll never have an issue again,
mm,
it would be creating a trade route with Israel, with a bunch of other countries, whether it's to oil. They're already friends with Azerbaijan. They need to connect Azerbaijan all the way through to them and
mm.
make actual allies through trade where they all get richer. And to wrap it up, they're going to need at least Lebanon or Egypt to be close with them, or both, because then you have other ports to bring in more US based Navy. Like, it's about bringing in the US presence, right?
Mm.
If you have it on the whole strip of the Levant, that's way
Yeah.
more deadly than just Israel and the West Bank.
Well, you're getting your foot in the door for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of that'll be the impetus to continue to kind of expand.
Oh,
Um,
completely.
yeah, man. Well, this has been a bit of a nihilistic episode, a little bit of
There's
a
always
Debbie
hope.
Downer. There's always hope, but I mean, I think don't put your faith in politics. I think that'll be the theme of the episode. These people, I think a lot of them are bought and sold already. Just to be completely honest, I don't think that they're necessarily ever looking for your interest in particular. Um, I think that's probably that's probably the theme of the episode. So I hope you enjoyed listening to us chat and go through things. Like, share, subscribe. We will be doing these about 5 days a week. We appreciate you joining us. God bless and keep pushing.